Relic, what the hell are these? So does this mean they'll get 2 tigers? Good God. The French. It's finally here. Why, tally-ho, ladies and gentlemen, and every armchair tactician under the sun, it is I, the Major General, strategist, scoundrel, purveyor of tactical nonsense, expert in bold plans and questionable decisions, coming at you live from a slightly moist cardboard box stuffed in the back rooms of GHQ London. What are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? Well, today, after my stunning success of guessing what was in the last expansion for Company of Heroes, we are going to do it again with this new expansion, Dare and Destroy. Yes! Let's see how Relic runs fast and loose with history today. Will it be enough to topple Churchill's breakfast buffet? Or will they keep it straight and narrow this time? Yes! Let's go and have a look. I'm getting excited for this one, because they're churning these out rather quickly, which is great stuff to see. Right, ladies and gentlemen, shall we? Waste no time. Robert, my good sir! Thank you, my good man. Help yourself to a picture of Queen Victoria on the way out. Right, let's start things off, shall we? Dare destroy.
Enough waiting. Whip out.
Good God. The French are here. Oh, my goodness. Well, it's good to see that they are incorporating the French, which is nice to see. The French did have a very big hand in World War II, despite what many history textbooks like to say. But once again, we're falling. Relic, you don't know what time of the war we're doing. Because this is a Char B1 heavy tank, which was a very, very early war tank. It was such an early war tank. Fun fact, it only has a 1-man turret. So the poor commander has to command the tank, load the gun, and fire the gun at the same time. But it was a very good tank at its time. In fact, it was one of the best tanks in the early war period. In fact, most German tanks couldn't deal with it. In fact, the German AT guns couldn't penetrate the armor of this thing. The Germans fondly called their AT guns door knockers, because they would just knock on the door of the tank. But it's good to see we have some French boys, yes. Good to see the French are here. Let's hope they don't run away. So I don't know how the Americans are going to deploy this tank. It's probably going to be a call-in, or maybe a build order. But yes, it has 2 guns. It is a rather lovely heavy tank. French are here. Okay, French railway artillery. Now, I'll have to do some quick research quickly. I don't think the French had this stuff, but yes, railway artillery was a thing. Large pieces of artillery. Mainly, the Germans really did like their large pieces of guns, because, you know, I am German, I require a big gun, because I'm a big boy. So, call-in artillery, very cool, very nice. That would be very cool to see in the game. Yes, moving on. Oh, yeah, lovely stuff. Stuka Ace Squadron for Africa Corps. Okay, that's good, that's good. That's looking good. Better than the Africa Corps. Kriegsmarine, still waiting for those desert submarines, Relic. That is the Stuka with the 20mm autogun on it. That Stuka wasn't really good, really. In fact, I think there were only like a few ever made. Don't worry, they're German. The German Wunderwaffen. Don't worry, Relic. Alright. Okay, so it looks like this battle group is going to have a lot of aircraft call-ins, which is great. But this was historically true. The balance of air power was a bit 50-50. Some days the Allies would have a superior air power. Sometimes the Germans would have superior air power until the Germans got their asses handed to them in El Alamein. Don't tell all the German mains. They get really upset. A Tiger Ace. Well, this is true. The Tigers did make their appearance in Africa, despite only 33 of them actually arriving in Africa. Now, Relic is busy falling for Nazi propaganda here. Tiger Ace. No one outside of the Axis records their crews as aces. To be an aircraft ace, you have to score 3 kills to become an ace. 3 or 5, I'm not sure. But tank crews record kills differently, apart from the Nazis, because they like to record group kills to one tank, to make that one tank sound extra special. I'm looking at you, Michael Wittmann. So, Tigers, I'm a bit dubious. But a veteran Tiger crew, yes, I'll give them that. Good stuff. All right, Tigers. So does this mean they'll get 2 Tigers with their normal Tiger call-in, or is this an upgrade to their normal Tiger call-in? I hope it's an upgrade, because I don't want to play against 2 Tigers in one game. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's finally here. The SAS L Detachment in all their glory. Yes, the pioneers of Special Forces, the British L Detachment, SAS. I don't know why they're calling it SSB Commandos. This is L Detachment. This is SAS. They're even wearing what SAS would wear. Now, the SAS were, oh my God, I have read a great deal about the SAS, and the SAS were, in the desert at least, the SAS were a mixture of James Bond, Monty Python, and a bar fight. They were the pioneers of special operations, penetrating deep behind enemy lines and sowing chaos, destroying airfields, killing crew, and just ravaging supply lines. They were so notorious that Hitler made the famous commando order. If they were captured, they were to be shot on sight. Just because, oh no, they're so effective, oh, we can't handle them. But yes, finally, SAS, which is going to be great stuff.
Here's Crate, ready to throw.
Okay, Relic. What the hell are these? That is not a Willys Jeep. That is far from a Willys Jeep. The SAS were famed for having Willys Jeeps, and they literally festooned their Jeeps with machine guns. In fact, this thing has got 2 little machine guns. They had 4 machine guns in the front. There were 2 quad-mounted machine guns and then 1 in the back. I'll show you a picture here. Look at this. Look at this. How could this machine suspension handle that amount of tungsten balls there? So, once again, Relic, what the hell are these? These aren't Willys Jeeps. Yeah, so they actually had 4 Vickers machine guns, and why there's a Maxim machine gun in the back there. But it was Vickers anti-aircraft guns. Hello, post-production Major General here. Upon closer inspection, I have finally deduced what these vehicles are. These are LRDG vehicles, long-range desert group vehicles. So the desert group were a band of miscreants that would patrol the deep desert, treating it like the vast ocean of sand, like an actual ocean. They would travel using basically nautical ways of navigation, theodolites, traveling by star, and various other forms of navigation used by sailors. They were quite notorious and quite effective. In fact, the SAS ended up using the long-range desert patrol group to penetrate deep behind enemy lines, using the desert, because the Germans did not patrol the deep desert as thoroughly as the British. So the SAS would infiltrate using the desert patrol group until they managed to get their own Willys Jeeps. In fact, all those Jeeps were acquired, with a heavy use of inverted commas, by David Sterling and his band of rogues, which left the desert patrol group in a bit of a lurch. They ended up actually stealing some of the Willys Jeeps from the SAS. So yes, these are desert patrol group vehicles. They did kit them out. They were used like half-tracks. They did use them like attack vehicles. In fact, they actually put 37mm Bofors on the back, which the troops did not like, and even captured Italian equipment. And in fact, there's one case where they've actually rammed an Italian tank. So yes, these are LRDG vehicles, not Willys Jeeps. So please forgive me, as I was drawing parallels with the SAS and didn't think of the Desert Patrol Group. So please use this amendment going forth with this video. tracks. Ah, okay. I see Relic. Bit of a cop-out for Relic, because they can't make a Willys Jeep big enough to put people in. So they're using them as half tracks. Oh, so we get a nice close-up. So we're going to get some Thompsons, some Bren. Oh, they're going to get Vickers. We'll be able to move, fire and move. And I'm glad to see that they got the right uniforms. Grinding advance, Wehrmacht. Well, I'm sorry, Wehrmacht. Early war, you had a bit of a grinding advance, but that grinding advance was ground to a halt very quickly. Okay. Ah, fragmentation launchers. This is, well, they did exist. They did exist. They basically just turned smoke grenade launchers into just giant claymores on a tank to stop infantry from crawling on it. Okay, maybe there's a certain round for that tank. A new round, maybe? A new... Okay, it's going to be on half tracks too. Okay. Is that... It is... Oh my god, Relic. Right, Relic. You've brought back the Sturmtiger. I mean, it was a staple play in Company 2. It was very fun in Company 2. But, once again, Relic is playing fast and loose with history. 18 were ever made. A whole 18. And they were so late in the war that they did nothing. They were developed because of the Battle of Stalingrad, because the Germans were brought to a grinding halt. Haha, grinding advance, grinding halt. Brought to a grinding halt in the city of Stalingrad, and the Wehrmacht wanted a weapon to level a building in one shot. So they developed this, the Sturmtiger. It could shoot a 380mm caliber rocket. Quite a big bang for your buck. Typical German. I want a big gun for my big tank. 18 were ever made. Never saw real much combat. Once again, very late war stuff. So, let's have a look. What do we have here? So, Relic, once again, we have both early war, very early war, the Sharby one, and then we have extreme late war with the Sturmtiger. So, let's have a look over here. So, let's start with the Germans, shall we? Let's start with the Germans. So, we're going to get the grinding advance. So, they are going to get what looks like the double Flammenwerfer for it Werfersflammen. Then we up. Germans are going to get a rifle grenade. Lovely. I don't want them to get rifle grenades because I have way too much fun with that. So they're going to get a rifle grenade. What else are they going to get? Sturmtiger. Boo. I hope it takes a while to reload because famously you have to literally open up the back of this whole tank to reload this thing. This that appears to be some sort of command tank with a different round. Maybe there's a different round ability for Africa Corps. Some of my dear colleagues in my Discord have probably mentioned that the Africa Corps is probably going to get extreme veterancy again. Instead of max 3 veterancy, they're going to get max 5, like they did in Company 2. Right. Then we have the French with their biguettes. And so we got the Sharby one, early war tank, very lovely, very heavy tank, very reliable tank, I might add. But it was rather outdated at the start of the war. Despite it having very good armor, it had a one-man turret, definitely hampered its ability. Okay. Oh, it looks like we're going to have some sort of Maginot Line, which the French did have. The Maginot Line was a series of fortifications that was supposed to stop the Germans from coming through. The French didn't expect the Germans to go through the Ardennes Forest, which they did. Famously, with their panzers, inverted commas. Only 10% of the army was mechanized. The rest were infantry with horses. Don't tell Germans mains that. They get very upset. All right. So we're going to get the Maginot Line with it looks like it's going to be advanced emplacements. There's some French tank traps. We've got some emplacements, extra barbed wire. No French Foreign Legions, which is a pity because they did happen in Africa. And once again, they're given to the Americans because Relic can't, for the life of them, give the Americans anything unique. Then we have the best one. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one. The L Detachment, a.k.a. the SAS, the Desert Raiders. So we have the SAS detachments over here. It looks like they're going to have a boys and a Vickers and a Bren. I hope they're in units of 5, not units of 4s. The Poles were fun, but unit of 4 is not that great. So hopefully we get a unit of 5 with... Maybe they'll be like Rangers. I hope maybe they'll be like Rangers, because I can see there's different weapons here. Like There's a Bren, a Boys, and a Vickers. Then we have this abomination. What's supposed to be a Willys Jeep. It looks like a Vickers in the back, and hold on a tick. That looks like a 2-pounder on the back of that one over there. So maybe these are going to be like British half-tracks, inverted commas, even though the British did have American half-tracks, where you can upgrade them with different weapons, despite there should be 2 twin-linked Vickers on the front there. So that's going to be quite interesting. I am definitely going to have fun with that. And then we got this over here, some sort of reconnaissance unit. Maybe it's some sort of cloaking, advanced Nazi stealth technology like the Germans get, even though we're horrible at it. Some sort of a beacon. Maybe it'll give some cloaking. Maybe it'll give a buff. I hope it's for the British, but it's probably going to be for the French because of the Maginot Line. So it's probably going to be extra munitions or something to buff your units in defense. We shall see what Relic comes up with. And then over here, last thing, I've noticed this cache on a tree or a pipe or something. Maybe it's some sort of cache upgrade that the Germans get. Anyway, well, this looks absolutely smashing, ladies and gentlemen. I am rather excited. And it's coming out next month. I'm rather chuffed with Relic churning out with these new battle groups rather quickly. Historically, this one's doing a lot better than the previous one. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10. Lovely to see some early war stuff, but then again, Relic is busy throwing some late war stuff in it, so that's kind of knocking it down a few pegs. Kind of falling for a few fallacies. So yes, a solid 8 out of 10. Let's see how well my predictions hold out in the next few coming months. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I hope I get to see you soon on the battlefield with these new fancy fan-dangled units and battle groups. If you would like to see my advanced tactical genius, feel free to come join me at Twitch and here on YouTube. And if you would like to come yell at me that how wrong I am, come join me on the Discord, where we can have a civil conversation. If you did like this video, ladies and gentlemen, or even if you did not, please feel free to give us a like, leave a comment, and I'll hopefully be able to see you again soon on the battlefield. Until we meet again, ladies and gentlemen, cheerio!